Great, thanks, Renee.
What? Terrible.
Thanks, Renee. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this virtual information session about the Sustainable Communities Partnership Program. As Renee said, I'm Samantha McGraw, Program Manager for Sustainable Jersey, and myself, along with our Deputy Director and members of the Montclair State University PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies, would like to welcome you here today. Next slide, please. Just a few housekeeping items. So, as Renee said, this is a Zoom meeting, so please mute your audio until the Q&A portion at the end of the presentation. You can chat with other attendees in the chat box or enter your questions to be answered by our panelists at the end of the presentation. We are providing a live transcript of today's presentation, so if you're not already seeing the transcript as I'm speaking and you would like to, you can enable that option by clicking the live transcript button and then enable transcript. You can also choose to hide it at any time. We will also be posting the presentation and recording on our website on the webinars page, and that will be up later this week. And before we move on to the presentation, we do have a few poll questions to learn a little bit more about our audience today.
There are three quick questions, if you can scroll down and just answer them really quickly. The first question is multiple choices. So if you are an elected official and a municipal staff member in a different town or whatever, you can click both boxes. And then the second question asks about your status in Sustainable Jersey. And the third question asks about if you have any experience working with students. I'll give you a minute or two to answer these questions, and then I'll share the results with everybody. See a few people still coming in, so I'll give it another 15 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna turn the poll off now and share the results so that we all have a feel for who's on board here. So we have a lot of appointed member of a board or commission, so probably environmental commission or your green team sometimes is officially appointed. A good representation of municipal staff and volunteer green team members. Thank you all for joining us. In terms of your status, 80% are certified bronze or silver. That's great to see. And also great to see people that are hoping to apply for certification in the near future. And then okay, so about 20% have worked frequently with students, and 55% have worked with students but limited, and 25% have no experience. So when we get into the questions and answers at the end of the discussion, those with a lot of experience working with students, if they want to chime in and offer any tips or recommendations, that would be helpful. So I'm going to stop sharing the poll and turn it back over to Sam.
Great, thanks. Next slide, please. So Sustainable Jersey is very excited to partner with the PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies at Montclair State University to match upper level students with Sustainable Jersey participating municipalities in need of help to complete specific Sustainable Jersey actions. This is a pilot program. And it's a chance for students to take part in a valuable experiential learning opportunity while simultaneously helping municipalities achieve Sustainable Jersey certification. We know that municipalities face different challenges as they navigate the certification and action completion process. So this is really an excellent opportunity to apply for assistance in completing actions that contribute toward your certification. Next slide, please. So just to give you a feel for how it works, municipal green teams will identify specific actions that you would like to pursue and submit an online application. And then based on those actions, a student with related coursework or experience will be assigned to the municipality. And then depending on the program of study, the student would commit to approximately 80 to 100 hours of time in the February to April 2022 timeframe to make progress on the action or actions under the guidance of their instructor and an assigned municipal contact. Next slide. So as you're planning your certification efforts, please keep in mind the certification cycle timeline for 2022. There are 3 rounds of submission and feedback with the initial application deadline on May 22nd. If you're planning to submit for certification and you don't have everything finished, you'll still want to submit an application by that May 22nd deadline so that you can get feedback from us and the action reviewers on what you've accomplished so far. While your application is under review, you can continue to work on actions that aren't marked completed or approved. And keep in mind that if you do want to be recognized at the 2022 Sustainable Jersey Luncheon, you will need to have at least the minimum of requirements for bronze certification completed by that August 28th deadline. And you can find more information about the 2022 certification cycle on that page of our website. Next slide, please. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Amy Taninga, the director of the PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies and Montclair State University's Sustainable Public Service Initiative, which is providing the opportunity to connect the students with our Sustainable Jersey Green teams.
Thanks so much, Sam. We are really excited to collaborate with Sustainable Jersey on this new initiative, this pilot, to allow students an opportunity to gain real-world experience and to support municipalities. Before we get started, I wanted to just say a couple of words about Montclair State and the PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies in the event that you don't know us or don't know about us. I know a couple of you, but so Montclair State is the 2nd largest public university in New Jersey, and it's a doctoral research university with approximately 22,000 students, the majority of which are commuter students. So presumably they're coming from some of your municipalities. We are a Hispanic serving institution, and we have a large portion of our student body that is from underrepresented groups. And the PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies has been working with students from all backgrounds and all majors since 2015 when I came to Montclair State. The PSEG Institute for Sustainability Studies mission is to advance sustainability by developing community engaged research projects and building educational programs through academic, corporate, public partnerships. So we accomplish this mission through the implementation of a variety of programs. And one of those is our Green Teams program. PSEG ISS, the Institute, provides opportunities for students to bridge classrooms to careers with its annual Green Teams program held between May and August. The Green Teams are teams of students who serve corporations, organizations, nonprofits, municipalities, and community groups to address sustainability issues. This is a transdisciplinary program, so students are coming from all different majors, and it's targeted to upper level undergraduates who are interested in sustainability. The Green Teams program is a paid summer undergraduate internship program and partnering with these organizations. So far, since 2016, when the program started, we've completed 190 projects for 32 different organizations. And we've had 270 students move through the program, coming from 55 different universities and over 100 majors. We also have a Sustainability Ambassadors program. This is for students, mostly Montclair State students, as opposed to the Green Teams program that brings in students from all different universities. And the Sustainability Ambassadors have served a number of municipalities, including Montclair. So these are Montclair State students interested in sustainability who self-select projects to advance sustainability on campus and in our communities. And topics have ranged from green buildings, waste reduction, and food systems. Additionally, we have a Work to Succeed program, which is a paid program. The sustainability ambassadors are volunteers, but the Work to Succeed is a paid program that partners students with outside organizations. And we also offer students mentoring in their capstone projects. So we are engaged in research and education in many fields of sustainability. And you can learn more on our website, which is www.montclair.edu/ISS. And from our podcast, The Refresh. So this airs on WMSC 90.3 FM on Thursday afternoons and Monday mornings. And then you can find the podcasts on SoundCloud later. And it tells the stories shares stories and strategies of how corporations and communities are moving toward a sustainable planet. Next slide, please. Because of all the work with municipalities and students, we thought it might make sense to offer a new program in partnership with Sustainable Jersey to allow students to work on projects that would support you all. To give you a better sense of our students' backgrounds and the work they might be well suited to help you with, I'm going to step through some examples of some of the past work. And we can also offer support to those of you that maybe haven't worked with students in the past or have had limited experience working with students. We have some materials that we've already developed for that. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, our students come from a variety of different majors and different degree programs. We, in communicating about this program on campus, engaged deans from all different colleges and different chairs from different departments. So some of the degree programs that students might come from in order to support you include the arts, biology, business, chemistry, communications, mathematics, sustainability science, of course, and sociology, but there are many others. And over the years, we've had several collaborations with New Jersey municipalities to assist them in furthering their sustainability goals. So I'll share 4 examples now. If you could go to the next slide, please. One of our first experiences was building out the Montclair Green Business Recognition Program with the then sustainability coordinator of Montclair, whom some of you may know, Gray Russell. He recently retired, and we helped to build out the Green Business Recognition Program, including we had a student who, we all love Gray. We had a student who developed this logo that you can find as a window cling in businesses in Montclair that are certified. This is the redbud tree that's a native and is often found throughout Montclair. So there was a lot of thought that went into this logo design. And so our students also developed promotional materials and visited local businesses. They were trained both by faculty and also DEP came and helped. And so then they went and visited the businesses and they registered a large number of businesses into this program, and that helped Montclair to become, helped towards the points for Montclair to be certified. So that Montclair received 10 points for their Sustainable Jersey Green Business Recognition Program action. Next slide. We also worked over a number of years with the city of Jersey City. And this was through our Green Teams program, but also through student interns and capstones. We helped the Green Team students work on a variety of projects. And these included mapping out their street trees. We have students that have expertise in GIS. We also helped to estimate the amount of carbon that's taken up by the street trees, so carbon sequestration and emissions. Students conducted a fleet inventory and also benchmarked the emissions in the city and helped the city to put together a climate action plan that was put together by the city, but we suggested some actions as well. Next slide. We've also been working with the city of Newark over a large number of years, many of the years that the Green Teams program has been going. And We helped create some promotional materials and outreach materials to support Newark's sustainability action plan. So when we came in to start working with the city of Newark, their previous sustainability action plan was just about to expire. We took that action plan and created a community concept map that had a survey of like 93 items. From the participants, we knew what they thought to be most feasible and what they thought to be most important. And those items went into the current sustainability action plan. Some of the materials the students created included information for idle-free Newark. We helped to create some of the initial pieces of their food policy council and the food policy in the city. We worked on parks and energy and waste reduction with the city of Newark. So there's a lot of ongoing work there as well.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. And our last example here for today is some work that we did through New Jersey Natural Gas and New Jersey Resources in partnership with Sustainable Jersey to help serve the municipalities of Ocean Grove, Holmdel, and Point Pleasant Beach on their energy savings and energy efficiency outreach for residential programs. So the green team in this case developed outreach materials to support each of these municipalities. And I think we may be working with them again and supporting some additional municipalities. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. And I'll hand it back over to Sam now. Those are just a few examples of how we've worked with students.
Great, thanks, Amy. I think that already gives everyone, a lot of things that they can think about in terms of projects. So that's wonderful. So, as we transition to talking about some of the actions that you can submit or can consider submitting for this opportunity, this is just a quick reminder of what the certification requirements are. So for bronze certification, you need to be approved for at least 150 points, the mandatory green team action, implement 2 priority actions, and complete actions in 6 categories. And for silver, you need at least 350 points, the same mandatory green team action, 3 priority actions, and actions in 8 categories. Next slide, please. So oftentimes when a municipality is working on certification, they have enough points required, but they're not approved for the number of required priority actions. So these are some of the priority actions that we recommend considering as options for this opportunity. Additionally, we have flagged if they contribute toward the completion of a gold star in energy, health, and/or water. So on this one, it would just be health, diversity on boards and commissions. If you're not familiar with the Gold Star, all certified municipalities are eligible to earn Gold Star recognition for reaching high levels of achievement in these dimensions. And you can learn more about the Gold Star on the Gold Star Standards page of the website. I'm going to provide a brief overview of these different actions so that you know what each of them require and the general work associated. As always, full action details can be found in the actions themselves on the actions page of our website. Keep in mind, this includes things like who you should include, what to do and how to do it, what to submit, resources, and things like that to help you work through that particular action. So the Diversity on Boards and Commissions action provides an assessment process for communities to be aware of the degree of inclusivity and representation on their municipal boards and commissions. So it requires the completion of a community diversity profile, an assessment, and compilation of the results of the boards and commissions evaluation, and also final recommendations that are presented to the governing body to improve diversity on the evaluated boards. The fleet inventory action is the process of evaluating current vehicles and equipment to better understand where efficiency might be improved. The inventory includes surveying how each vehicle in the fleet is used, as well as its fuel consumption and environmental impact. So from that data, your fleet managers can develop a strategy to green the fleet, including specific efficiency targets. It also requires the completion of the Sustainable Jersey Fleet Inventory spreadsheet or a similar data tracking sheet, as well as a narrative about your current fleet composition, maintenance and driver practices, an evaluation of fleet efficiency for the year used in your sheet, and a discussion of the strategies to improve fleet efficiency. So a lot of different components going into that particular priority action. As Amy, just highlighted as an example, the Green Business Recognition Program is another one that we, would recommend you consider. It's intended to encourage local businesses to implement sustainable practices. So there's two options for this action. Municipalities can either develop their own program, or they can incorporate the criteria established by the New Jersey Sustainable Business Registry, and also include participation in that program, which is a free program, as a mandatory element in their Green Business Recognition Program. So that one is eligible for either 10 or 20 points, depending on which option you select. By completing the municipal carbon footprint action, you can measure the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced by local government operations in any given year. It requires an accounting-like inventory of all the sources of your greenhouse gas emissions in your buildings, fleets, and operations. So you'll need to collect data on the main sources of energy used in the municipal operations and convert this data into carbon emissions equivalents using a spreadsheet tool that is available in the action description. And lastly, the recycling and waste reduction, education, and compliance action recognizes municipalities that have developed and implemented a comprehensive recycling and waste reduction and education and compliance strategy aimed at increasing the quantity of recycling collected from residents and reducing the amount of solid waste they generate. So in order to be approved for this action, a municipality needs to develop that strategy, have a recycling ordinance that incorporates compliance measures, conduct regular inspections, and take a series of steps to educate the public on how to reduce waste and improve the quantity and quality of recycling. So, with these actions, just keep in mind that the scope of work and the required support from the municipal staff or other officials may vary by action. So, for example, with the fleet inventory, you'll want to have someone who is in close contact with the fleets. So you'll probably need to have a municipal representative to provide that data to the student working on it to do the data analysis or the data entry. Whereas, something like the Green Business Recognition Program may not require as much data input from municipal staff to develop or work on the program. Next slide, please. So in addition to considering priority actions, these are some of the other actions you may wish to consider. Please note that students are not limited to working on these actions. So for example, any actions that require a community education and outreach component are also likely a good fit. We'd be happy to discuss any actions that you're thinking about at the end of the presentation or offline as well. I'm just going to highlight a few of these. So the Wildlife Interaction Plan is aimed at fostering positive human-wildlife interactions and resolving conflict that may exist in your community with specific species. So for example, deer or bears. The goal is to reduce problems resulting from human-wildlife interaction to a manageable and acceptable level, and to ensure that Indigenous species can continue to thrive within the community. The Buy Fresh, Buy Local action involves actively promoting businesses that use or sell locally grown food in their restaurants or other businesses like food stores through active marketing campaigns that really promote that Buy Fresh, Buy Local, and also the Jersey Fresh program. the lead blood screening campaign. So the purpose of this action is to prevent lead exposure and protect children by conducting a coordinated outreach campaign that will increase the percentage of children living in the municipality who have completed the state mandated blood level screening tests. And lastly, the private well outreach testing action focuses on increasing public education about the safety of drinking well water and encouraging proactive testing in drinking well water. Next slide. So these are just some tips that you can keep in mind as you're thinking about, what type of, action or actions might you be interested in for this opportunity. So are there any priority actions that you need for your application, or are there any that you've been really wanting to work on? Do you need any additional action categories? So like I said, for bronze certification, you need 6 action categories, and for silver, you need 8. So sometimes we do see that a municipality might have all the required points, they might have all the required priority actions, but they need to be approved for another action in an additional category. So make sure that you have all of your categories covered as well. Will municipal staff be available to assist the student? Is there a community education and outreach component that they could work on? Are you thinking about working on a gold star? And are any of the actions that contribute to those gold stars something that you need assistance with? And then just lastly, is there something that your green team always wanted to do, but didn't necessarily have the resources to do it? Next slide. Amy, I'm not sure if you wanted to do this one or you want me to go through it.
Sure, I can talk through. So we've already announced the opportunity, and today's the informational session. We have a little bit of a soft deadline of January 31st for the application. So right now, today, the deans are hearing again about the opportunity and sharing with their faculty. And the call will be going out to students. We're giving the students until the 24th to apply, and then we'll be matching folks up right around January 31st. So we've already received a number of applications from municipalities, and if you have a project, the sooner you apply, the sooner we can match you up with a student. The time constraint comes in the semester time frame, right? And so the students are available now until a little before May 12th. So think about the end of April being the end of the time that they can really dig in and work on this project. So the sooner you apply, the sooner we can match them up, the sooner they can get started and get working. So they'll have, roughly 3 months to really be able to work on this. It depends on the number of credits that they're taking and the degree program as to the exact number of hours that they'll be able to work with you. But we're tracking all of that and providing some evaluation so that if this is something that you'd like to continue, we can improve and make it even better for the fall semester of 2022. So keep in mind that their semester ends May 12th, and that's right in advance of the Sustainable Jersey certification application deadline. So we view this as kind of an opportunity to build out capacity and for you to gather some data or information or put together an initiative that you otherwise might not have the staff to do. And to give the students a real world experience where they're learning as well. So keep in mind they're learning. Will have a faculty mentor that's supporting them, and they will need a point person on the municipal end in order to touch base and get information. So this is roughly the timeline. We're a little bit flexible, but when the semester ends, the students will be gone. I can continue. Okay, so what we're asking for you to do is to fill out the application. And as I mentioned, then we'll match you up with a student. Right now, Montclair State is in person, but we understand that the students may not be able to come meet you all of the time, that you may want to meet with them virtually, or that may be the way that your office is operating right now. And so they should have some level of independence where they are able to do some of the things virtually, but that modality is up to you to decide. Montclair State is operating in person for the most part. So you want to work with the student to provide the information or the data, the resources that they need. It might be information, it might be actual data. They might need to go meet with someone who oversees the fleet, because you might not have that data either on paper or an electronic file, and they might actually be looking at the vehicles and writing down the mileage and the make and the model and looking up information. So whatever state your data is in, don't worry, we've seen it all. And we're happy to help support moving forward. So, but there may need to be a person that they would connect with. And then, so the student is going to be connecting with you or whoever the liaison from the municipality is at least once a week. We, again, will be tracking this. As it's a pilot, we want to make sure that the students are following through and doing a really good job for you. And then the professors will also oversee the type of work the students are doing, the quality of the work that they're doing. And again, that varies quite a bit program by program. So if you're looking for an art student or a public health student, their requirements are different than an earth and environmental science or sustainability science student. And if you'd like to ask more questions, you can connect with Tiers and Mills through our PSEG ISS at montclair.edu website. That would be for anything related, questions related to the students or connecting to the students or matching with the students or the mentorship, what the students are qualified and capable to do. You see Tiers and Mills popped up on the screen here. She's our program coordinator. And then Sustainable Jersey, you would contact Maureen Jones at info@sustainablejersey.com. You should be familiar with that. We do have phone numbers here as well, but I think at least for PSEG ISS, email is the best way. And then if you want to register your municipality, this is a bit.ly link that you can use to fill out an application. It's pretty brief. And we'll be following up to make sure that we understand exactly what it is that you'd like to have happen. And I saw a question in the chat, so I'm just going to jump ahead and answer it quickly. Can a municipality have more than one student? Yes. However, you know, we would like to make sure that each municipality that wants a student that we have a good match for has a student first before we start adding two to any given municipality. But I think it's a little bit case by case because it depends on the nature of the projects that you're asking for and who the students are that are applying, what their backgrounds are and what they're able to do. And I think I'll just hand it back to Sam at this point.
So Amy, in that case, would you recommend that they submit 2 applications? And just in the notes, put which one is their priority, which one is their first choice?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic if you could do that, please. And also, if you have a lot of work, consider applying for a green team for the summer. Those applications are open until February 1st, and we can tell you more about that. Shall I just answer some of these questions, or do you want to?
Yeah, you know what, let's stop sharing the screen and have everybody come on, and then we can answer the questions in the chat, and then people can unmute themselves and ask questions. So yeah, so go ahead, Amy, answer the ones that you can in the chat or refer them to our team.
So I think you're going to have to answer the question about the municipal vulnerability assessment fitting into an SJ action. I can say that the students, if we had the right student, absolutely, they would be able to help. We do have great faculty that work, a lot of faculty who work on water.
Yeah, so are you talking about, Kathleen, are you talking about the coastal vulnerability assessment, or are you doing?
No, there's state legislation that mandates that whenever a municipality updates its master plan, it needs to include a vulnerability assessment, and there's like 5 categories. Coastal is two of them, but there's also drought and 3 other categories that apply to inland towns.
So the question is, yes, I'm sure if you did it, it could be one of the actions, or it can be applied under innovative. The question about the municipal water story, I did talk to Ann Heasley, our program manager for that action, and she said yes, that these students would be a great help in working on the water story action, because there's a lot of data collection involved in that, and analysis and stuff like that, and also public engagement processes that they can assist with. And we are going to do a briefing with students. Once students are assigned to towns and we know what actions they're working with, we are going to connect the students with the reviewer for that action to kind of give them an overview of kind of what are the important components of the action, and, you know, give them some guidance on how to tackle it. But yes, water story would be a good one.
Yeah, and we have geography students, we have earth and environmental science students, we have sustainability science students. Some of our biology students who are ecology focused might also be well suited. So a number of different departments that would have students that would be trained for this, I think.
So the next question is the student's responsibility to just collect and analyze data, or will they complete the required narrative that goes along with the action? I think, Amy, the goal would have them to do a narrative too that, you know, could be reviewed by the municipality.
Yeah, I think, you know, time permitting, I think you probably first you want them to collect the data, right? And sometimes that takes a while, depending on the state that it's in or how many different people they have to touch base with and coordinate. So I think it's a little bit of, you know, order the things that you're asking them to do in the order of priority, and accessibility, and what you need done first and most, and then they'll just continue through that as far as they can get in the semester. The semesters go by very, very fast. So the more you plan ahead and know exactly what you want them to do and who they're supposed to reach out to, the better the outcomes will be.
And also, I agree, Amy, those are good points. And also just making sure that you've already connected with the person in the municipality that has to give them the data, and they're willing to do it in a timely fashion. And it also can't hurt to have a backup plan for a different action, maybe, that if they can't get the data in a timely fashion. So then there's another question. Oh, would you please explain more about the Green Team summer program, Amy?
Sure, I'll just say a couple words, and then I'm happy to talk to folks individually because it's usually a longer conversation. It is a summer internship program. We partner 5 students with a hosting organization. It's intense. It's 10 weeks long. They work 40 hours plus per week. They receive a stipend. We place the students on a team depending on what the deliverables are and what kind of expertise you're looking for. We've had students work with Princeton, Newark, Jersey City, the municipalities I mentioned out along the Jersey Shore. And also some municipalities in northern New Jersey. So we've worked with a number of different municipalities. If the municipalities are small and they're aligned, they're geographically, you know, in a location that's similar, and they have a similar type of thing that they want to work on, like we worked on food waste in northern New Jersey, then it might make sense for 2 or 3 or more municipalities to work together toward that, because you have 5 students. So Tirza put in the chat the link to the Green Team's program information on our website, and I'd be happy to talk in more detail about that. We support the students, we train them, we mentor them. It's a really rich program. It's really targeted to students who are smart and creative thinkers, problem solvers, but may not have had opportunities in the past. So a lot of our students are low income or come from underserved communities. And so it's really an opportunity to give them a chance to shine. You can see some of the videos of some of the projects that they've done and presented at the end of the summer on our website as well. So you get a sense of what the students do. And when they come together in a team, they really do shine. So it's something worth thinking about. It does require a certain amount of capacity, though. We ask that people spend about 2 hours a week with the students. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less than that, and then we spend the rest of the time with them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So does that also fit into getting points on Sustainable Jersey, or is that just a summer intern program that's separate?
Sometimes if you align what you're asking, if you align your deliverables with your points, then it would.
Because actually the thing's due in May, so I guess it really wouldn't apply if it's a
Well,
summer.
the first certification deadline is May. The second is the end of August. So if the project that you want, you know, they work on sustainability oriented projects. So if the project that you wanted them to work on was like community garden, maybe that's not a good one for the summer, but you could give them projects that are aligned with the actions to work on.
So Elizabeth already has it's Groundwork Elizabeth. You may be
Yeah.
familiar with it, you may not be familiar with it. And we do have a little micro farm, so we have community gardens and we do all that. But I didn't know if it's something that maybe would also obviously benefit the students to work with the green team from Groundwork Elizabeth.
Potentially,
And-
yeah. I mean, I'm in touch with Jackie Park Album as well, and anyone's welcome to apply to that. This is something that we're going to launch and is going to go fast in the spring, so it might actually feed into that as well. And
Well,
sometimes, you know,
yeah.
you might want to watch for a little bit, get some things going with the Sustainable Public Service Initiative, this single intern that you might get, and then kind of feed into a bigger project with the
Yeah,
green team.
Jackie works for Groundwork, but I was gonna have, maybe we can do a conference call with Jonathan. He's the executive director.
Yeah,
Sure.
that would be great. So going back to this initiative for this upcoming semester, we just want to clarify that the goal is to help the towns complete actions and also give the students kind of content skill-based learning opportunities. So they are going to be focused on completing actions, not necessarily like updating your certification application. So they need to be targeted on specific kind of tools, skills related, content skills related type things like data analysis or marketing and promotion, that sort of stuff. And the result of their work will give you the documentation that you need to claim credit for the action, but they're not going to be kind of they're not intended to be your like assistant in putting your whole application together. They need to be focused on one or two things.
Yeah, we actually get points on that anyway because of Groundwork, because we work
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
But it's still just another option for their students. I think it would be a good experience.
Yeah.
Groundwork
would-
and Montclair.
I would contrast them a little bit against like either a grant writer or a consultant that you might hire to do a project for a municipality. You know, they don't have that experience, but they do have experience from their classrooms. And they're really looking for this real world opportunity to use what they're learning, you know, in computer science or in statistics, and to be able to help support you with those skills. So they're looking for something that can go on their resume to help them with a career. So think about, you know, they might be planners, they might be data analysts, they might be working for a local or regional government or nonprofit in the near future within the next year. And so, you know, how does this align? They're going to be asking themselves, how does this align with my career goals? And so, yeah, they're not going to come in as a replacement for a grant writer or a consultant.
So we don't have any more questions in the chat, I don't think. So if people want to unmute themselves and ask other questions that they may have, please feel free to do it.
Hi, this is Kathy. I'm from Runnymede, New Jersey. I just have a quick question, and you may have covered it and I might have missed it. So if we were to apply for a green team, for the summer, is there a cost to the borough for that?
We work with organizations that aren't able to pay. The team costs $55,000. We do have some grants, so we can cover some or all of different teams. Let me just tell you though that we typically have between about 6 and 12 teams. This summer we're aiming for 10, and we already have about 7 of those slots filled. So there's not a huge amount of capacity, and so we're really looking at the types of projects now, and we're looking at projects that might work together. You know, so if you're a municipality and you have a company in your municipality and you have a nonprofit and you are all working together, those are the kinds of projects that we're looking for at the moment, where there would be greater impact
Right.
through partnership and collaboration.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions about this opportunity for the next couple of months? Does anybody want to share any that, because we did see that a lot of people have worked with students. Do any people want to share their experience with students, give us some tips or kind of positive encouragement? Okay, so
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
We, Tom Sears, Washington Township, Bergen County, we have started a project called Fill It Forward. Every child gets a water bottle and we have a digital sticker on it. We handed these out to all our middle school and we're moving into our high school. And when I originally asked, could we use this as some points towards our sustainable New Jersey certification, I didn't get a clear answer. But just to give you an update, because I think this is really important on how valued the younger kids are with getting involved. Right now, we have 65 middle students. Since we kicked this off in the middle of November, we have actually saved 1,050 plastic water bottles from going into the dump. We saved 598 pounds of carbon going into the environment and close to 40 pounds of heavy waste going into the dumps. So the younger kids are unbelievable. And we can't wait till we get into the middle school to start this project. And it's flying off the wall like no tomorrow. So the younger kids are unbelievable in getting involved with our environment. So I just wanted to share that with the group.
Yeah, that's great. And Tom, your question about being able to get credit on it on your municipal application, if it's a project that's being driven by the municipal green team or environmental commission and you're collaborating with the schools, you should be able to get credit for it. So you can reach out to info@, and we can kind of tell you what action to apply it under. If all else fails, you can always apply under innovative, but we do recognize collaboration, and both the school and the municipality can get points for an initiative.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Amy, do you have anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, we have a new president at Montclair State University, and he is all about public service, and we have been ever since the beginning. So we're just really trying to align efforts. And I think that we're excited about helping you, and the students are really excited and can't wait. So this is something that's central and core to who have been all along, and now we have a lot of backing from our president. So please let us know if this isn't the right fit for you and you have other needs, whatever it is, let us know. We're here to help.
Is there any, like out of the examples that maybe Samantha gave, Samantha, maybe you're better to answer, I don't know. Are there any like that you recommend using the students for? Or it just depends on their fit?
It depends on who we have applying here. What I can tell you that we've done in the past is everything from waste and food waste to emissions and energy efficiency to in fleet inventories. We have focused on water in different kinds of projects. And so, it really, I would say, go for what you need and we will try to find a fit.
Yeah.
And if we can't find a fit, then we'll tell you what we have available and we'll see if you have a need for that.
So the application does ask you to identify like I think it's 3 of your.
It does say it. I did submit it and I just put TBD just because I wanted to hear this info session first, but I submitted it earlier.
Yeah.
So,
But like any of the ones that we talked about, green business recognition, water story, any of the ones that require data analysis, those are good. So yeah, if you want to talk more about it, just contact Sam in terms of like what's required of the actions, or Amy. But and like Amy said, a lot's going to depend on the mix of students that apply and the mix of needs that we have to fit. But
I could throw out one more suggestion.
great.
When I was just thinking about how we've worked with students, and one summer we did virtual internships in the height of the pandemic, and two of the actions, I guess, that we had them work on was green infrastructure planning actions. And I
Mhm.
haven't heard that mentioned. But, I worked with a student where we rode our bicycles around town looking at all the municipal buildings, and he did a visual assessment of, what might be able to be done. And then he mapped it and he provided a report back to the town. And another student did the data analysis for, I don't know, I forget, tier 1 on green infrastructure planning, which was impervious cover assessment, I think.
Right, exactly.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so those two, seem like perfect kinds of projects for students to do.
Yeah, let me just add to that. So we do have students with strong GIS skills, the geographic information systems and mapping. We do have students with strong analytical skills and data analysis skills. Montclair State, we're starting the pilot with Montclair State, and we do not have an engineering school and we do not have an architecture program. So if you're looking specifically for architecture or engineering, that's not within our wheelhouse, but all of these other things are.
Right. So to
I-
me, it seems like an easy 5 points to do an impervious cover assessment if it's a GIS student, and
Yep.
get 5 points on the green, on the green infrastructure planning tier 1 action. So
Yeah, and
Yes.
the critical assets inventory too is also a good one, because that's, I think you have to have it's a mapping type thing. So
Looks like Doug has a question.
Hey, what's up? Happy Taco Tuesday, everybody. My question is in regards to if approved, we apply for the student, and if approved, then they're assigned to us. The idea that I had for student, intern, helper, or however we want to refer to it as, was that they would be, because I'm the town clerk in Teaneck. We have a very large organization here. We do a bunch of different things that qualify for Sustainable Jersey. We always get the bronze because it's always the most attainable. I would like to get the silver. I believe we qualify. Just sometimes it's difficult to handle all the different kinds of document gathering and analyzations that need to be done in time. So my idea for the student was they would be working with me, and I would be letting them know where to find the different corresponding requirements for these action items. And I envisioned it that they would be working as a conduit between me and our corresponding departments, ultimately providing me with the documents that they get to submit for these action item requirements through Sustainable Jersey. So really they would be working with me, but interacting with other aspects of our organization. Is that cool? I think
Let me just say that we've been down that path a few times with a few different municipalities. It works if the person that they're going to has capacity to stop what they're doing and help them, give them the data if they have access to the data, or, if it's archived in some place that they can't get to and they're beyond capacity and they don't have time, then it doesn't work as well. And so when you're introducing them to these individuals, if you already have a rapport with them, that's great. If you already know that they have capacity, that's great. But sometimes the individuals really have more than a full-time job already and they just don't have time. So think about that a little bit, I think.
For sure. Yeah. And that was going to be my one insight to add to the pot here, that like students and volunteers in general are always such a helpful resource, but they can only be helpful if guided directly. You know what I mean? And sometimes volunteers, whether it be interns or volunteers, they're given these ambiguous tasks, but really not given any kind of tools or mechanisms to completing those tasks, which is obviously something I would definitely avoid if chosen to receive a student helper. But yeah, that was my question. I appreciate you addressing that.
But I also, two other things is, I do think to Amy that the student has to be able to add value in the process, not just collecting the information, but collecting the data and like doing the analysis that's required for the action, not just kind of passing through, so that they have something to show for their efforts that required their skills and knowledge.
I appreciate that. Yeah, then, you know, so then maybe we could put them more to work then, you know, actually helping us to attain that silver. Look, you guys definitely nailed the bronze certification, but through my correspondence with different representatives from your departments, I think that you're more than able to acquire the silver certification. That kind of scenario I would love to see with a student helper.
Yeah.
Keep in mind also that they're not full-time. So, you know, their hours it might be 6 to 10 hours a week, something like that. So think about a day a week, something like that.
Okay.
What can be done during that amount of time.
And
So I was just going to say, Tirza also put the link to apply again in the chat. And again, we're aiming to really start matching up students right away. But if you could get it in between the 24th and the 31st of January, that would be great. Sorry, Renee.
Yeah, and I just wanted to reiterate, just kind of riffing off Doug's comments, is that it's important that, you know, you think about the action that you want the student to work on and either have paved the way so they have access, if it does require municipal staff time, to get what they need to do it, or if you find that to be a challenge in your municipality, then pick an action that you may not be data dependent. Like that's why the Green Business Recognition Program might be a good option if you have trouble getting information from your municipality, or other like community education and outreach things where you're not dependent on getting information or expertise per se. You just need to work on putting it together and then presenting it to whoever needs to approve it. But a lot of times that can just be through like the Environmental Commission, not the actual paid staff. So that's something to keep in mind. And also actions that require data analysis where the information is publicly available. You might not have to go, like the well testing action, for example. A lot of that information to find out the private wells and blah, blah, blah is available through DEP or other sources. So think about what data you need and where is it available, and how the student can get it if it's you know, specific to your municipality. And if you do have any questions about that, just email info@sustainablejersey and we'll connect the question to our person on staff who's the expert that can tell you that. But I know like a lot of the even for the water story, a lot of that information is on like publicly available databases. So it doesn't necessarily require staff to provide it to you.
Will you be emailing everybody on this site, on the webinar today, all these different links that are in the chat?
Sure, we can do that. And we'll let you know when the recording's posted too.
Thank you.
And a lot of these links are on, if you go onto our webpage, there's a webpage under the grants page that has a lot of this information, the links to the application. It doesn't have the green team one, but we can email that out to everybody. All right, any other final questions before we wrap it up right at time on 1 o'clock? Well, thank you all for participating. And just a reminder, you will get a survey that pops up in your browser when we're done that will help us, since this is a pilot program, will give us good feedback as to how to structure these information sessions in the future to make them more valuable to prospective applicants. Thank you all and have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.